My name is Marco Ávila. I'm a civil engineer. I work for WSP, a global engineering and consulting services company. Work on big mega infrastructure projects. I've been doing infrastructure projects for the past 36 years, 23 with WSP, and very excited to be here. I also wear another hat. I am the chairman of the board and president of the Maryland Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So I always I feel I like to say that I have the best of both worlds, right? Because I'm working on these big mega projects, but also through the chamber, I'm able to help the small business and the micro business, and to make sure that we have programs and they join the chamber, and we help them out to try to figure out a way that they can improve their business in any way possible. So I'm lucky to be able to be on both sides and be able to work together to get things done. So I'm originally from Ecuador, and been here for a long time, 40 years in the U.S. So with that, I'd like to go over the table and ask every one of you guys to introduce yourselves and see what, tell us what you do and what you're into. Let's start with Luis de Laos.
Good morning. Yes, my name is Luis de Laos. I'm the chairman of the board of directors of the Statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce here in New Jersey. And I'm also the VP of Community Lending for Valley Bank. And the work that I do is focus on 4 pillars: helping minority and small business owners to access to capital, access to new markets, networks. And since the pandemic, and since I met Tayde 12 years ago, how to reduce the digital gap for those small businesses. I do believe that entrepreneurship is the best way that we have in our community to overcome poverty. Latinos, we have 5 times more chances to save money if we start a business than if we find a job, unless it's in a construction company like Marco.
Great. Let's go to Rolf. Go ahead.
Hello, Ralph Tejeda. I'm with the Morris County Hispanic-American Chamber of Commerce, New Jersey. So I'm a neighbor of Lewis, and we work with. It's a business chamber that works with mostly entrepreneurs and helping them grow their business. Some are large, but most of them are small. I'm happy to be here today to contribute and to learn from these other colleagues. At the Morris County Hispanic-American Chamber of Commerce, we have a lot of events that are educational to help these businesses in different ways with SBA help, PPP. There's a lot of things that we do to create connections for them and to tie them to the private sector when it comes to opportunities. And it is a chamber that is based with our board is all volunteer. So my day job is that I'm with Tropical Sourcing. It's my business actually that we do consulting and help different growers and shippers from Latin America mostly to have access to this market. So work with importers and distributors to help market their goods. Thank you, and it's great to be here.
Sounds great. Thank you, Ralph. Let's go with Tayde. Aburto.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us today, Marco. My name is Tayde Aburto. I'm the president of the U.S. Business Association of E-Commerce. We're an online platform that provides access to online tools and resources to help small businesses thrive in the digital economy. We've been doing this work since 2008 through the Hispanic Chamber of E-Commerce. We have been very successful at helping small businesses grow and compete in the digital economy. And now with this pandemic, it has become a very relevant topic. So, we're very grateful to be in the position that we're in. And I'm also the founder of the Digital Economy Alliance, which is 501c4 organization focused on promoting digital policies that help the U.S. to stay competitive at the global level.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So we're going to be talking about a little bit about smart cities, right? So in general, the components of a smart city includes having a smart infrastructure and a smart buildings, a smart transportation, smart energy and healthcare and technology and governance, education, and obviously the consumer, right? The cities. So what we'd like to do is ask a couple questions, and each one of you can probably give us your feedback about, based on your experience, what are some of the obstacles faced by micro businesses in the development of a smart city? And Luis, we can start with you.
I mean, the pandemic basically showed us the digital divide. We are over 140,000 Latino small business owners in the state of New Jersey that we contribute over $20 billion to the local economy. But unfortunately, those business owners use their cell phones to access to the internet. Now, that's good if you are surfing like a social media platform for personal reasons. But if you get a SBA application or a NJEDA application, any government agencies, you won't be able to navigate that on a cell phone. It's very interesting because Latinos, we use social media more than any other ethnic group, but we do that for personal reasons, not necessarily for business reasons. And that's what we believe, if we are able to educate our business owners in how they can integrate to the digital economy. Tayde used a number that is amazing. Did you know that the sales of Amazon increased double compared with the amount that was provided by the federal government to assist small businesses during the pandemic? That's crazy, because we thought that was a lot of money and was not enough. And basically, if we use part of that money to educate businesses in how to get or access the digital economy, I believe that the long-term solution will be better for many of them. Another thing is that immigrants, we are 30% of the population in the state of New Jersey, but we account for almost 50% of the main street businesses. That's why all the policies that are considered by the state government need to be focused on opportunity zones that are focused on very low and moderate income neighborhoods, because those businesses provide a lot of jobs. They provide job creation, job retention, and also they pay a lot of taxes. That's why the policy needs to be focused on those small business owners. And what we have been doing in the past 10 years have been focused on helping those businesses, especially those that have the opportunity to grow. 92% of the businesses in the US are micro businesses. They have less than 5 employees, including the business owner. If 1 of every 3 hire one more person, the US will face full employment. That's the power of micro businesses, and that's why we believe that through them we can make an impact on the states and cities where we live.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Ralph, give us your input about the obstacles faced by the micro businesses and small businesses in order to develop the smart cities.
Sure. Well, in Morris County, the capital of Morris County is Morristown. Morristown was established in 1865. So you can imagine that the infrastructure and the way that this city was built is let's say ancient for U.S. or American terms. So we in Morris County and Morristown have many immigrants as well, and definitely getting broadband to these families is important. You see that with the pandemic, you have many people children being homeschooled, and one thing is to have the devices, which is another issue, is having the broadband capability to be able to disperse that information to them. So in a city like Morristown, we have to work with private sector and work with companies like Verizon and T-Mobile, who are willing to work with a chamber like us and other chambers throughout the country to get that the connection to on the ground to these families. Many of them that don't speak English, so they might send information via mail or email, but that never really reaches to them. So what we've been doing at our chamber is having webinars and getting communities or associations together, so we can educate them, so that way they can be connected to the web and be able to access information and help them grow.
Sounds great. Tayde, go ahead.
Marco, I think, right now we are at the stage where our elected officials need to address the importance of the digital economy. Small businesses are facing a lot of challenges because there are dated policies running cities and states and at the federal level. So I think in order for us to stay competitive globally, anyone that holds a position of power that is influencing policy at different levels in our country needs to understand that the digital economy is transforming a lot of sectors and industry in our country, and therefore, because the active participation that small businesses have in our economy, we know that they're the backbone of our economy. They have to streamline their public processes so small businesses can have an easier way to get licensed, to get permits, to be able to compete with businesses at the global scale. And the other thing that you mentioned earlier is infrastructure. We just approved a huge 1.1 or 1.3 trillion bill. So I think it is important for cities to start thinking about how they're gonna digitalize some of this infrastructure, right? Like putting chips on freeways and bridges and stuff, just to keep better maintenance of that. That's gonna have a direct impact on taxpayers' dollars, right? Because we're gonna have a smarter infrastructure that is gonna cost us less money to maintain, and then we can utilize those resources to invest in education, to invest in social programs, to invest in other areas within the economy that is gonna help us to stay competitive, like I said, at the global level. And for us, like minority communities, are gonna have a more direct economic impact in areas that are extremely important for all of us, from social, cultural, or political arena, in any way that you can think of. So the digital economy is here to stay, and thinking about smart cities and going about digital policies that can possibly impact the work that we do is something that we have to start addressing right now. We have an important election next year, and we need to pay attention to what the candidates are putting out there. It's not business as usual. We need to think in a more innovative way to stay competitive moving forward.
Sounds good. From my side and on Maryland, the obstacles that we have is being able to reach out to these small businesses and micro businesses. As we know, the Hispanic population specifically are the fastest growing, market in the country. But what we've noticing is that, some of these small businesses, they create the business and they want to do their work, but they don't realize that there's programs out there, or there's like the Minority Business Enterprise Program, to get registered and to be able to be counted, so they can get into these as a sub, these big projects. So that's the challenge that we've been seeing, that some of them might not even know that these programs exist. So the solution would be especially for like organizations like ours and the chambers of Hispanic chambers and chambers in general, to be able to educate all these new businesses or small business, to make sure that they know about these programs. So the next question I'd like to ask you is, so what advice would you give to a micro business who want to enter the renewable sector and be able to be counted as part of the building of a smart city? Luis.
I just want to say that you just described a problem that we identified like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and that we was able to decode part of the problem. And is, I mean, New Jersey is a very diverse state. We have the most diverse city in the entire country. And Latinos, we come from 22 different countries. But those people come from different cities and different regions in each country. And the level of the acculturation is what makes the difference. 60% of them, they will prefer to learn new subjects in Spanish. And what we did, or what we have been trying to do is very interesting, because if you offer a service to the small business community and you charge for that service, they will tell you, I cannot afford to get your service. But when you find a third party that is willing to pay, a sponsor that is willing to pay in order for you to offer a free program, they don't trust that the program is worth enough their time, right? Now, during the pandemic, we also learned that we need to communicate using the platforms that they prefer. Like bodega owners, truck drivers, beauty salon owners, barbers, they prefer WhatsApp over any other media outlet. And that's the conversation that they will prefer. Many of them, they will prefer voice message over text, right? They never will open a email blast or a newsletter from any of the organizations, because they are used to a different way of communication. Saying that, I think that we just need to pay attention to, and I don't know what I get feedback, yes, that we need to pay attention to what they need and offer what they like. Usually, when we start providing them resources and we prove them results, they are willing to come. A few years ago, we was in a deep crisis, and we started with 500 members. For the past few years, we became the largest chamber of commerce in the States based on membership, because we allow and we welcome small business owners to come. The other thing is, not every small business owner want to grow. There's a lot of small business owners that they say, give me a loan. I don't want more headaches. I don't want to have more employees. And basically what we did like 3 years ago was we focus on those who have the high growth potential, because those are the ones who can exceed, and they are able to take advantage of those programs. Remember, the way that everything works is you need to prove the sponsors that you are able to deliver what they are expecting from you as an organization. And if you focus on those deliverables, I believe that the support will come. Now, I also want to say that as small business owners, we have the social responsibility to take care about our neighborhood, our block, our city, our county, and our state. We can make the difference, right? We are the ones who can make a lot of changes. Right now in the state of New Jersey is a lot of opportunities to get into the clean industry. The NJEDA, which is the Economic Development Authority of New Jersey, they are offering a program called SIP program, where they will give you money almost up to 90% of the value if you decide to change your trucks or your vans for electric vehicles. Those cars are not available yet, but they will give you the voucher. You can bring the voucher to the manufacturer, and the car will be delivered in 2 years from now. Also, we are trying to, the state is trying to do a lot of efforts on that, on the same industry. And basically what we are trying to do is, through a program called New Jersey Manufacturer Extension Program, we are training the people in order for them to learn new skills, in order for them to get to the new economy, the clean economy, the energy renewal economy. And the last thing that happened in the state of New Jersey is that the state of New Jersey passed a law that the single-use bags, plastic bags, only have like 1 year of use. I mean, a year from now, we will stop using plastic bags. That's another opportunity for many business owners because they can move to paper or to other materials that will help to clean our environment and that open a new set of opportunities on the economic side.
Sounds good, Luis. Yeah, and like you mentioned, also, I mean, organizations like ours are going to have to step up to guide them, to teach them, to mentoring them, and obviously, put them in contact with all these agencies or entities or big prime companies that will be doing the work, because some of these big companies also have these mentorship programs that they can get into. So we always have to be on the lookout to make sure we provide all this information and be able to be counted. Ralph, give us your advice on what would you advise to the micro business to be able to get on the renewable sector?
Oh, sure. Well, one of the things I like to talk about is yes, the plastic bag ban is something that we've also discussed, and we recently had a webinar to educate our members on, because many of them are small supermarket owners and retailers. So definitely sustainability is something very important. One of the things that we highlighted during the webinar is that number one is not only educating the particular business owner, but also educating the end user. The ones that are they're really going to get surprised and that, oh, what do you mean we have to bring our own bag, or it needs to be a reusable bag. Paper is no longer going to be acceptable. So there are programs in place so that the store owners can order private label bags, which will help them with their marketing, with down the road help them with sales. Because you can identify your business with the bag, and that's something that's very important. And in addition, I think that to enter this market, you really have to look at it, short term and long term. And the short term answers right now is getting involved with local associations to help connect people, to have the education to understand how to go digitally, and long term working as well with government, with all the organizations and programs available to help these micro businesses get into the business. Many are looking at Amazon and just different types of platforms to be able to sell products. Many of the of our community, when it comes to Latinos, prefer products from home, or what we see now is that many of them are going into manufacturing. So it's very important to keep your culture, because we have so many Latinos in here that what they say, they want to be like home. So they go out and they say, listen, this is what I want. Let me go out there and give it to them, and use the the digital space to advertise and to be able to promote and sell their items.
Sounds good. And like you mentioned, the attributes of a smart cities includes, sustainability, quality of life, urbanization, smartness, and like you said, the end user. They all have to get educated to make sure that everything, you got to keep up with the technology and make sure that everything's in place, and everybody has to put the granito de arena, right? They need to put their efforts to be able to work together and do this. Ty, go ahead.
Just on some of you guys' comments in terms of like renewable energy and policies that help small businesses to compete in the green economy. We have partnered up with some local organizations. Just like you said, Marco, there are so many resources in the marketplace, and we don't have to spend the wheel, right? But what we do is that when we have like a core of businesses within our group that are interested in certain topics, like having a more active participation in contracts that have anything to do with the green economy, we just refer them to those organizations so they can provide them with the access to training resources and stuff, because we recognize that it's not like over for 10 we don't have like, all the resources that they need to go for like those contracts or to get involved, for example, with the SDG&E, which is like the energy company here in San Diego, and sometimes have those type of opportunities. And luckily for us, they have allocate resources for small businesses to get trained, to get advised on how to earn these contracts. And I think as an organization, it is important for us to be aware of these opportunities so we can communicate those to our audience.
Sounds good. From my side, like I mentioned in the beginning, that I'm lucky to be on both worlds, right? And I think the advice would be that whoever's listening to this program right now, and you are a micro business or a small business that want to make sure you're counted in order to build these smart cities all over the country, right? Is to get involved with the organizations that are going to help you. Get involved with the local chambers or the local Hispanic chambers, professional organizations, or get involved with all these networking programs that, the primes are there, the clients or the agencies, government agencies and all that. Get involved with all that, because that's where you're going to hear firsthand of what's coming up and all that, and subscribe to some of the notices that come out from the state or from the city or from the county or whatever it is they you get involved. And I think once you do that, I think you have probably a better chance to find out what's going on, and better chance to find out what kind of programs are out there or mentorship programs to be able to get on the boat and be able to be part of it. There's a lot going on. And there's a lot. I'm excited about in the next 30 years. We're talking about energy, engineering. We're talking about the energy strategy that is going to be there. It's just unbelievable. A lot of work that is going to come out. I think it's going to the power grid, the energy grid infrastructure needs to be updated, I think, and so there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. So I encourage everyone listening to get involved. Get involved and sign up and reach out to the organizations, the chambers, local chambers, and we got to work together. We got to work together for sure. Do you guys have any other advices before we close? I think we're a little early. We were
yes.
cruising here.
I just want to mention that. Remember that when we talk about access to new markets, the federal government or the government in general is the biggest customer in our economy in the U.S. And 30% of everything that needs to be purchased by the government supposed to be considered by minorities. Now, the certification as minority small business owner is not enough. You also need to develop the experience and the capacity in order for you to contract with the federal government, right? Now, we have a perfect example, because a lot of people, they get the certification as minority small business owner, and they think that they won the lottery. But the reality is you need to go to a company and you need to develop that relationship in order for them to consider you to the point that they will trust you. And that doesn't happen with a $10 million contract. That probably start at 100,000 or a few 100,000 before you are able to develop a relationship. I will insist that the support system that the non-for-profits and the chambers and many government agencies can offer is there for the small businesses to take advantage of, right? Many of those services are low cost, no cost, or in the case of the small business development centers, we already pay for. We prepay when we file our taxes, we already pay for those services. Those services are there for us to take advantage of, right? And there's many other resources that are available, but it's important. For example, the state of New Jersey has a law that 4% of the entire budget supposed to be addressed for veterans. And for me, was like, I was surprised because we have over 400,000 veterans in the state of New Jersey. But the most important thing was that more than 50% of the veterans that came back from service, from overseas, happened to be Latinos. And, the law was passed in probably 4 or 5 years ago. Guess how much money have been addressed to veterans? Was zero until early this year, and have been, but I don't think that is in the millions yet, but it's just a process. The problem was that many of those organizations, they have all the qualifications, but they didn't have the financial capacity to take cover a big contract. And that's a process that you need to develop in order for you to get. For that reason, I will say is don't get discouraged if you try to bid and you get rejected the first time. You just need to be disciplined. You need to persevere. And, little by little, you will get there, right? If you prove to a prime that you are the best supplier of a specific product or service, that prime will take care of you forever. And we happen to have, we used to have a large Hispanic engineer firm here in New Jersey, and we have other across the country that they do develop really good mentorship programs, as you say. And our responsibility is to put those primes with the subcontractors in order for them to develop the relationship to a point that they won't have an excuse to say, I'm not able to find minority subcontractors for the type of industry that I'm on, right? But that takes time, right? And you need to be prepared and you need to have the financial capacity. I insist, because there's a lot of people that say, I can clean that building. Yes, but you don't have the working capital to hire 100 people and wait 3 months until you get paid. That's the reason, because you are not getting the contract. It's not that you don't know how to do the work. It's the financial capacity for providing that service to a company that doesn't pay cash. They don't pay in advance. They wait until you perform the service, and they will take 40 days, 30 days, 90 days to pay you, just because that's how long it will take for them to process the invoice and to cut the check until you get paid.
Yeah, one of the things that you touched was very important, and one of the things that small businesses need to learn is, like you said, it's not going to happen overnight, but you have to build a relationship. Build a relationship with your peers, with your colleagues, with your prime companies, and with the clients and the agencies. Once you have a really good relationship, everything else will follow. The other things we can probably touch a little bit is about the new infrastructural law investment of $550 million, I think it was, towards the clean and smart city development with the charging stations. There's a lot of electric vehicles, coming out, and there's going to be, thousands and thousands of charging stations that are going to be built throughout the U.S. And that's the kind of thing that, Latinos, they drive a lot, right? And some of them are going to tap into that, and they need to tap into it. And that's the thing that you have to figure out a way to make sure that these micro businesses know about these new work coming up. This is new. It's new stuff. So that's the kind of thing. I don't know, Ralph or Tayde, if you have anything to add about this new initiative coming up with EV.
I think that one of the key things definitely is communication. To get your get the communication out to the communities, to these micro businesses, and it's great with a panel like this that they're able to get educated. That I think that's key, because there's so much that's just unknown. You don't know what you don't know, and once you know something, then you can act. These micro business owners are entrepreneurs, so they have the energy and the heart to persevere, and sometimes they just need guidance, and working with different agencies, the Small Business Administration. Just go out there and be aggressive and follow your heart.
Yeah, by the way, it was 550 billion with a B, not with the M.
That's a big difference.
That's a very significant number.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tayde, you have something to add?
Yeah, you just mentioned a really good point, Marco. We need to start, well, probably from our organizations and others that provide job training. We need to let our community know that, the economy is changing, and a lot of the jobs that they are currently doing are going to disappear or are going to be handled by robots. So there are going to be other opportunities where they can make, a very good income, but they're going to have to start taking some specific trainings in order to provide their services to those companies that are going to be very actively involved in just, like the charging stations and anything like that. I mean, here in California, by 2035, we're supposed to have like 100% of electric cars running throughout the state. It's I mean, that's what the government wants. But, in a state with 40 million people, that tells you like the opportunity that is in this micro country within a country, So Latinos have a huge opportunity. We are the largest minority group in the state, and we need to take advantage of those opportunities. And we need to start like getting certified, like Luis said, start building rapport with the primes, because there are a lot of opportunities coming in the next 5 years. This trillion build infrastructure that we just approved. So we need to step our game up.
Yeah, again, like I said, being on, having the best of both worlds. I work for a prime company, and we built a lot of big infrastructure projects, and we always look into, building to make sure we build the smart cities, the smart highways, smart buildings. I mean, it's so, and being able to be on both sides, it's again, I have to say that I'm lucky, because I'm able to see what we do on the bigger scale, and we always work with minority companies. We always make sure that obviously we know what's coming. So the name of the game is to make sure these micro and small businesses prepare for it, train for it, make sure that they become experts on what they want to do, or have a specialty work that they can get into. And so when the prime says, oh, you know what, this small business here, their specialty is such and such, and we need them. So that's the name of the game. Make sure you learn your trade, you learn your specialty, and run with it. So I think that's one of the big factors that you have to look into and go for it.
Marco, may I add something? One of the biggest challenges that we face is that for example, the government agencies in the state, they bundle the contract in a sense that only the primes and large corporations can access them. Now, for example, if a company do survey, right? That is no a separate contract. That's part of the contract that your company that you work for will get, right? But that's probably a service that you don't do. That's a service that you subcontract with a subcontractor that we hopefully want that subcontractor will be a minority, right? Now, the challenge is that when they bundle the contract and they put the full amount, now the financial capacity that is required in order for you to qualify is so huge that not many small business owners will qualify or can be considered for that, right? But what we learn is that if we introduce the subcontractors or the small business owners to the municipality and to the county and to the state, they will end up doing businesses with the federal government on other contracts. Now, the same requirements that are from government agencies happen to be from corporations. Corporations, private corporations, they also have the mandate that they need to buy for minorities. And they need to put that on the report every single year. Now, they used to say that they didn't have the ability to find it. We will challenge any corporation that they say we are not able to find it because we have the list of every possible subcontractor. And we say to them, we will co-sign for this minority business owner if you give them an opportunity. I insist, I think that the federal government, especially through this program and through this $500 billion project, I mean, if they address that, that will be the biggest opportunity for us as minority small business owners to build wealth, because those contracts are huge. And we hope that they will build the tunnel between New Jersey and Manhattan, because that will also create a lot of jobs for us and for our entire community.
Yeah, but like I said, if we don't prepare, we won't be able to get into it. So you got to make sure that you know how to do the job, right? Because if I'm a prime and I tell you you're a sub, and I need this specific service and I can't find it, I got to go somewhere else, right? So that's the key thing, that we need to make sure that we at least provide the information to make sure that these micro businesses get trained properly and get the skills that they need to be able to get the job and get the minority percentage that is allocated on these $550 billion. Let's say 25% of that has to go to minority companies, but you got to make sure you're registered or certified or whatever it is that you need to do to be able to be counted. And that's, I think, the key. And whoever's listening to this and you're a minority company or it's small micro business, make sure you get all the tools in place to be able to get on the boat. So anything else, guys? Any other advice that you would like to share, Tayde or Ralph?
I think not just on the experience that they need to gain, for some of these contracts, Marco, but I think it's also important that they handle their operations really well. I mean, their finances, like the back end, of the business, because I've seen some small businesses that come to us that want to compete for some of these contracts. The way that they're running their business, they may have the skills to get the job done, but they don't have good cash flow. They don't know how to manage their accounting. They cannot forecast production, etc. So I think you have to start with a very solid foundation of operation wise before you start competing for these contracts, because you don't want to be in the position where you actually win contract because you have the skills and stuff, but you don't know how to manage your resources. And I have seen them here, the third that I've been working with small businesses, and some of them doing business with the city of San Diego or the state of California. And they got some surprises, along the way. So we need to make sure that when our small businesses go after contracts, they have the infrastructure in place to go out there and compete for those.
They we lost you for a second, but I think you were done talking.
Yeah.
So
go ahead,
Marcos. I think another thing is that what we have to do, small businesses, micro businesses, just the community overall. I think also have to, look at their politicians, and the ones that advocate for diversity, is key. you want to invest your money and spend your money on your household goods in companies that support diversity. You have many corporations that have board members that that all just one type, and without diversity at the higher levels, it's very hard for that to trickle down. And those are the decision makers. Those are people making decisions to spend money on diversity. Many corporations say, oh yes, we spend X amount of money on for small businesses in diverse communities, but in reality, many don't. So I think it would also be good for people to do their homework and identify the companies and the politicians that are in their corner, that are backing them. And if they're not, they should raise their hand and say, hey, why not? Why not have more diversity on your board? Because at the end of the day, you're really looking at this continues to be the same. And as a small business owner, for you to fight for a contract, it's very difficult. So I think that people should unite, should look at the way how that they can they can focus their dollars on companies that support small businesses and micro businesses.
I agree with that. And that's the thing. Bottom line, the owner, the small business owner, needs to be innovative, go-getter, and make sure, like I said before, you have all the tools that you need to be able to be on the boat and be able to tap into this market that is coming up. I'm really excited about the future and the infrastructure plans and energy and everything that is coming up. So we got to make sure we prepare for it and to move forward and be able to succeed. Any other thoughts? I think we are a little early. Let's see. We have about another 10 minutes or so. But if nothing else, I'd like to thank you guys for your input. This is great. Hope we do this again. And any final thoughts?
No, feel free to ask if you need any subcontractors. We will be able to fulfill your dreams. I will insist that networking is probably the key factor. I came from Colombia in 2004. I didn't have any classmates, any relatives, any people to assist me. But you will find people that are willing to help you with your business if you pay attention to, right? Sometimes that individuals are not necessarily like next to you, but they will be willing to assist you. And remember, it's 3 steps: it's visibility, it's credibility, and profitability. I have been around for a couple of years, and I'm still not at profitability yet, right? Because that takes time and take longer time for some individuals rather than others, or sometimes it's just the environment that we are. But it's worth it and it's important. When you get to the position that you can have a seat at the table and you can discuss the agenda of the small businesses for a specific industry, it's really important. As I say earlier before, I do believe that entrepreneurship is the best way that we have to overcome poverty. That's why we support entrepreneurship. For example, truck drivers. That's the best alternative for someone that didn't attend college to make a living, because it's the highest income that someone can generate. But if you don't decide to consider the electric trucks, you can be out of the industry in the future. That's why we need to be I also reflect a lot on the sense that a lot of the subjects that I learned in college didn't apply today. But the only thing that I learned is that I need to learn new subjects very often, because things change, policies change. A lot of if I was not prepared for the pandemic, look, everything become virtual. I think that this is the 10 platform that I use to attend an event. I mean, everything is different every single day. And those challenges teach me a lesson, because the business owners that didn't fight the pandemic, the ones that adjust really fast, they took advantage of the pandemic and they even grew to the pandemic. But we cannot be static and expecting that everything will be as we know as normal. We just need to go with the flow and embrace those changes, because sooner or later we will need to get to the real deal, right? And we need to be prepared for that. I didn't have social media when I was in college, right? Everything started when I came to the United States. And look, many of the communication that we have is through social media. This will be posted in any platform that we probably won't know, and someone will take advantage of that information.
Yeah, before social media, I used to use the smoke signals. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, networking is key. You need to be out there. You need to be interacting with the different groups and associations and all that. And that's the key. That's how you meet one-on-one, and then that's how you learn and see or hear about opportunities coming out. I'd like to say that I love doing that. I like to get out there and meet people and see what's out there and see how we can help each other. I always tell my kids a few things. If you don't ask, you don't get, right? Mm-hmm. Everything is negotiable. And then the last thing I tell them is, like, you never pay full price. But but the other thing that I tell my kids, and this applies also on businesses, is like 2 words: persistence prevails. So you got to be persistent, and you will prevail. So. So thank you guys for your participation today. It was great. I really appreciate it. I hope we can meet again, and hopefully in person. I used to live in New Jersey and moved to Maryland about 16 years ago. I was in the Bergen County area.
Did you get tired of the traffic here, or?
I just got transferred with within the company.
Okay.
I've been with this company 23 years. I got the opportunity to work on these mega infrastructure projects down in Maryland, highways, bridges, railroad, that kind of stuff. And I'm lucky enough to be able to be there for a long time and help, build the smart cities, the infrastructure, the highways and all that, and also be able to interact with the small businesses and minority companies. So I'm very lucky, very lucky. So thank you guys again. Thank you very much. Have a happy Friday, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.